read in the bulletin, government has withdrawn the bauxite mining leases granted Exton Cubic, a company affiliated with the brother of former President Mahama. Lands and Natural Resources Minister John Peter Amewu says the company failed to meet stipulated conditions.
Statutory infractions leading to the purported grant of the 3 mining leases to the company render the purported leases invalid and of no effect.
But still, we're coming up in business, which comes up right after the break. The new board of Securities and Exchange Commission is to look into the circumstances leading to the selective takeover of UT Bank and Capital Bank. Good evening, welcome to business. Now, newly appointed board members of the Securities and Exchange Commission say they would look into circumstances leading to the selective takeover of UT and Capital banks. Some have criticized the regulator, the Bank of Ghana, for failing to protect the shareholders. But speaking to Joy Business, chairman of the board, Dr. Yeboamwa, said a report will soon be released concerning the development. Charles Aite has more in this report.
We have to know exactly how it was managed and then how to to address any concerns. The shares are still in the, if like, are held by the issuers, by the investors, the shareholders, and so forth. I believe that the first items is yet to be sold, and so more or less everything I think is still intact until all the various steps are done to do appraisals and to sell things and to pay and to like sequence the list of debts and so forth. Are they adequate to cover are the assets enough to cover the debts of the companies concerned? And if so, because if they are adequate, then shareholders get their monies back.
Finance Minister charged the board to ensure that the securities sector in Ghana is much competitive.
I am committed to positioning Ghana as an international financial services center within the region, and I believe a stronger SEC will complement other key regulators to achieve this.
On his part, Vice President of Data Bank, Ogbami Tete, made the case that the regulator's choice for a selective takeover of the defunct banks was to ensure sanctity in the financial sector.
The Bank of Ghana did a very professional job in terms of how they managed the process, and from the bits and pieces coming out, it is clear that the situation is being well managed to lead to a situation where you have a win-win situation largely. So I think that all said and done, so far so good.
Other members of the board included the first Deputy Governor of the Bank of Ghana, Dr. Johnson P. Esiama, among others.
Now, Ghana is said to have the highest potential for growth in insurance premiums and the least in terms of risk in sub-Saharan Africa. The 2017 edition of the Oxford Business Group report has projected an annual growth rate of 8.5% for the sector in Ghana. That's between 2014 and 2018. Innovation is believed to be the key driver of growth in the industry. Now, speaking to Joy Business, Head of Bank Assurance, Alfred Ludwig Kisiedu, says innovation has become the bedrock of development in all sectors of the economy, and the insurance sector is no exception. According to him, the sector is catching up with players in the mainstream financial sector in terms of innovation. Now, my colleague Kuku Apia has more.
A huge chunk of Ghana's population is still unbanked, a situation that is not encouraging. It is therefore not surprising the insurance industry is characterized by low patronage of policies, the low level of insurance literacy in the country, lack of trust, and poor financial resources management mainly account for the state of the industry. So the question is, would innovation make all the difference?
Largely, you have certain organizations that have taken the lead in that. So we have, let's say, Star Micro Insurance, you have Bima, you have Micro Insure. These are companies that are also breaking the frontiers when it comes to the informal sector. So they have designed very suitable products, to reach this informal sector. And these are products that have very low amount in terms of premiums. One thing I can say for sure is that the insurance companies are catching up. They are. And so, for instance, Vanguard has launched an insurance app. Okay. Now, almost all the insurance companies have e-platforms where you can actually purchase insurance. Yes, on it, download whatever you want to download. They're catching up, but they are not probably moving as fast as the banks are moving, but they will get there.
The level of insurance penetration has also been relatively low. Joy Business spoke to some Ghanaians to find out what they know about insurance and its benefits.
Insurance works in diverse ways. Personally, if I join myself with maybe any insurance firm or something, I go there with the mindset that if anything happens to me, which is maybe a disaster or whatever, I believe that the insurance firm will come through for me and to raise me back again.
Basically, to me personally, insurance works in so many ways, especially when you find yourself in an accident, and your car is insured. Definitely, you get some compensation from the insurance company.
I was in the office, and then, one of them came to me, so I had to register in my office. I haven't been there though to check, but they send me text messages. On any transaction that takes place, they send me text messages. So that's how it's working for me.
According to the latest Oxford Business Group report, the value of the country's insurance market is projected to reach $600 million in 2018 from $400 million in 2014, based on a projected annual growth rate of 8.5%. As Ghana's middle class grows along with the economy, the Oxford report says the demand for insurance is expected to also increase. It adds the country's population is growing steadily and that could help boost the industry. Technology, particularly mobile phone penetration, data subscriptions and mobile money, are further expected to help insurance companies reach uninsured sections of the population, which otherwise would have been impossible with physical branches and offices.
Let's head to the ports now, and some clearing agents say they're struggling with work with the new systems deployed for the paperless transactions at the ports. Managers at the country's ports last Friday finally began a new process which seeks to do away with the huge documents required to transact business. It has also automated most of the processes to help reduce the cost of operations. But after visiting the Tema port on Monday, Ebenezer Sabote reports some of these agents are yet to appreciate the new structures implemented.
Agents ended up disappointed as they thronged the ports on Monday to carry out transactions. They were not abreast of the new system, indicating that more needs to be done in order for the paperless port operations to run smoothly. Isaac Asiedu is a clearing agent.
I started from the shipping line. Actually, I was supposed to release personal effect and 2 cars. And hereby in the case, they released personal effect and 1 car on Saturday.
And what's the problem with the other car?
Okay, according to GC, they can't find 1 car in the system, so they were not able to release at the shipping line. So I came to Gapoa and they rectified the problem. And hereby, I came this morning to continue. They've already released my car for me. That is a 1 car. And Gapoa is telling me that I should start from the new system, because now I can't go back to the old system anymore. Yeah, before they would drop the container for me.
So what are you going to do now?
Okay, actually, I'm not used to the new system, so I'm now going to verify from them how the procedure goes.
Meanwhile, Corporate Affairs Manager of the Ghana Ports and Harbours Authority, Esther Donko, is optimistic of a smooth run of the process during the course of the week.
So in the morning, we made the plan preparation and provided 2 information desk staff. But when we got here and then the people are increasing, we are checking to confirm that it is the old process. And so we have added 1 more person.
Doesn't mean
and the
this
billers
number
are
has
here.
overwhelmed the
I want to believe that because they know that we are going to start the process today, a number of them rush to start the process, so that they can conveniently complete it in the old system. But and that's what I feel, that a number of them, it's normal. They want to be sure that they are comfortable at least today or a few days, so they've done the process. In fact, we were collating statistics. We're collating statistics on the people who have processed. Some have even started the process and are waiting to pick their boxes on even as far as coming Friday. You see, so some of them have started the process. So
the objective of the paperless port operation is to enhance efficiency and turnaround time in transaction business at the ports.
And that's your business update. More news after this break.
Welcome back to Joy News Prime. Now, the mining leases for Exton Cubic Group Limited have been revoked by the Ministry for Lands and Natural Resources. Minister John Peter Aumeu stated at a news conference Monday the company has not satisfied the requirements stipulated by law, and so the leases previously granted have been revoked. The company was caught up in a standoff between the Lands Minister and the Shanti Regional Minister, Simon Osei-Mensah, who insisted the company, which is affiliated with the brother of former President Mahama, was not authorized to engage in bauxite mining prospecting. Mr. Aumeu, in an interview with Joy News, was emphatic the company had the all clear. Now, after weeks of controversy, John Peter Aumeu has declared the permits he earlier defended are indeed invalid.
Section 11 to 22 of Act 703 set out the mandatory procedure to be complied with by an applicant for the grant of any mining rights in the country. A mineral right refers to the various distinct rights of recognizance, prospecting, or mining conveyed by a grant by the state. A scrutiny of the processes leading up to the grant of the mining leases in favor of the company discloses non-compliance of the statutory requirements for the grant of any of the valid mining leases. It is the exclusive duty of the minister under Section 13, subsection 1 of Act 703 to determine and notify an applicant of a grant of a mineral right. The purported notifications by the Minerals Commissions of the grant of the company's applications for mining leases to the company is contrary to law. Section 13, subsection 4 of Act 703 again requires an applicant to indicate in writing an acceptance of an offer of grant of mining right within 60 days of receiving notice of the grant. Section 13, subsection 6 indicates that an approved application shall lapse if the applicant fails to accept the offer in a form stated in subsection 4. There is no record of an acceptance of the offer of the mining lease in writing by the company as mandatorily prescribed by Section 13, subsection 4 of the Act. Ladies and gentlemen, the absence of publications of the Gazette of Notice of the pendency of the company's applications and service of notice of the various entities specified in the law is contrary to both Section 13, subsection 2 of Act 703 and Regulation 177 of LI 2176. The various statutory infractions leading to the purported grant of the 3 mining leases to the company render the purported leases invalid and of no effect. In the circumstances above, and in accordance with Section 87 of Act 703, the 3 mining leases are hereby revoked.
The soldier accused of stabbing to death a 26-year-old phone dealer was on Monday remanded into police custody by the Kaswa Fanko District Magistrate Court. Nanea Wusu, who was in the company of his friends during last Friday's Eid celebrations, is said to have been killed in a confrontation with some soldiers who approached them because he refused to hand over his mobile phone. Joining us is Maxwell Agbagba was at the Kaswa high-tension market where the incident happened, and reports friends of the deceased said but for the intervention, the soldier, whose identity is still unknown, would have been lynched.
Friends of the deceased, Nanaya Owusu, besieged the court's premises, outraged at the way he died. One of them, Pa Willie Akono, sent me to the ZAC location where they were seated before they were accosted by the soldiers that fateful night. He says, but for the Major Maxwell Mahama episode at Dentro Boase, they would have lynched the soldier.
Before you just see the guy just take the jackknife and put the knife on here. So, Woku Starboy, and the sojaman trying to run away. When the sojaman is going to run away, and now our guy hold the sojaman, and everything is happening in Ghana here. You also know the thing that happened last year in where Detrabuasi, Major Mama. That our guy just think fast. Say no, we cannot put the law into our hand. We have to hold the guy and take him to police station. Even though we wanted to put the soldier man, that our guy, even the sticks that we use, they use the guy that saved the soldier man. It's not easy. All his body, see my here. One of the stick, because of I'm protecting the soldier to take him to police station. Because otherwise, if you want to follow our heart, you must kill the soldier. Because we think far. We think what happened last 3 months. That's why we take the police soldier man to police station. Government have to deal the matter. If government don't deal the matter, now, if something happen again, we'll kill the soldier.
This is a third spot where the struggle actually continued. It's about 500 meters away from the place where the incident started. Now, here on the concrete floor around this high-tension market area, you can still see clearly the blood splattered here on the ground, where we are told the deceased finally gave up and was put in a taxi and then taken straight to the hospital. The soldier, we are told, was also bundled into a taxi here around this area. I have his brother here with me, and he's going to narrate to us exactly what happened. Governor Mwakun says justice is all they seek.
Now, he left behind a 2-year-old son, and should I say, a recent married wife. All we seek for is justice for Nana Owusu, and that's what we are hoping and praying that it comes to pass.
We are told that this is where the carnival was happening on September 1, that holiday last Friday, when the whole incident happened. The deceased, Nanaya Owusu, together with his colleagues, were seated somewhere about 500 meters away from this place. There, we are told, they were feasting on a bowl of rice that was brought to them by a friend. There, they were accosted by 4 military men. At the court premises, relatives of the deceased wailed as police officers escorted the suspect into their vehicle. Some of them were unhappy that the police tried to protect the suspect's identity. This woman, who is the aunt of the deceased, could not control her tears. Journalists were not allowed to witness the court proceedings. A police officer at the court said he was working on a judge's instructions. Joy News, however, learned the suspect has been remanded into custody until September 18, when he will reappear before the Kaswa Ofanko Magistrate Court. Public Relations Office of the Ghana Armed Forces, Colonel Agwekwashi, in a telephone conversation refused to name the suspect, but confirmed he is a soldier. He says the military police is collaborating with the Kaswa police and also helping with investigations. Reporting for Joy News, Maxwell Agbaba.
Ashanti Region Police Command has mounted a search for a suspected fake currency dealer and member of a syndicate circulating illegal notes. Malam Abdul Rahman Sule is suspected to be hiding at Techimang or Tamale. 2 members of the gang were arrested last week from the hideout at the Dum in Kumasi. The 2 are 31-year-old Dauda Isa and Osman Isa, who is 30. Ashanti Region Police Public Relations Officer ASP Juliana Obeng says the suspected printing machine and wads of 10 cedi notes were found on them.
The said suspects were arrested at their hideouts in Nedum and had in their possession several fake 10-cedi notes which they intended to distribute into the system since it could easily pass as genuine. A search conducted in the house revealed a machine suspected to be used for the production of the currency and 14 bundles of the suspected 10 Ghana cedis notes. Each of the bundle has 1,000 Ghana cedis. Now, efforts are being made to arrest the accomplice, one Malam Abdul Rahim Suleiman, who we suspect to be in Tachiman or in Tamale. Meanwhile, these two suspects, whose name has been given already, and the exhibits are in police custody, being prepared for court.
While 4 other suspects, including 2 women, are in police custody for trading in substances suspected to be cannabis.
These suspects are Akwesi Nicholas, who is 32 years, Abna Echan, 60 years, Amare Kumwa, 34 years, and a 67-year-old Kweku Asamoah, in whose house all of these 3 suspects were arrested. Now, the exhibits we retrieved from the suspects are 7 jute sacks containing dried leaves suspected to be cannabis, 2 slabs of dried leaves, 22 wrappers, and 2 black polythene bags, also containing dried leaves, equally suspected to be cannabis. All 4 suspects are presently with the Drug Law Enforcement Unit at the regional headquarters, assisting in investigation and possibly onward prosecution. Exhibits have, however, been retrieved and being processed to be taken to Accra for forensic analysis.
The victim of a gang rape at Mataheko in Accra has launched a campaign to end the practice. She has revealed rape is common in the area and usually not reported to the police. In the following report, she recounts the moment when her trusted male friend lured her into a room and got 4 other men or boys to join in raping her. She says no other girl must suffer any such attack. Fred Smith reports.
That day was to be the most important day in her life, her birthday. But it was the day that changed her view of the world. She since changed her birthday in order to overcome the ordeal.
I met my friend and he said he has been looking for me to give me a birthday gift, but he can't reach me. And I said, okay, since I'm heading towards home and we live in the same wood, so we should go so that I take the gift. When I got there, 4 of his friends were already in the room. And he told me he's going to give me a birthday gift that I'll never forget in my life. So one of his friends slapped me, and I turned to look at the person who slapped because I didn't know what I did to receive that slap. So I turned only to see one of my closest friends was the one that slapped me. And my friend hits me at the back, and I fell on the chair. So when I fell in the chair, 2 of his friends held my hand, 2 of his friends held my leg, and it was my friend that started first, followed by one of his friends.
Started what?
With the rape, with forcibly having sex with me. And another one started. I saw the first 3, but the 2, I'm not sure if they did it, but they were all in the room. I saw the first 3, but the 2, I'm not sure because I was unconscious at the time.
She got pregnant through the gang rape and successfully delivered a baby girl 9 months later, 3 months before she turned 15. That baby was given out to a relative as a gift. Innocent-looking Miriam does not hide her pain. She tells me how she attempted to take her own life many times after the Kolebu police frustrated her in her attempt to seek justice.
I was taken to Kolebu, and Kolebu said they can't handle this case, so they should rush me to police hospital. They took me to police hospital.
Why did Kolebu say they could not?
Because the doctor's report that I was supposed to bring, the doctor at Kolebu said only a police doctor that can help me with.
It's because of the nature of the incident.
It's only a doctor who is also a police who can help me with this case. So I was rushed back to police hospital. They were the one that took care of me that night with my mother and my father. We got the police report. We brought it back to Kolebu. We were supposed to go and arrest them, but the police were not willing to us to support. I don't know why, because when I was on the sick bed, one of the rapists sent a message that there's no way they will be arrested. So, and that's...
Sent a message through which means mobile phone or...
No, not mobile phone.
Someone.
Like, he told somebody, and the person came to tell us, I was at home that day, and that there's no way they will be arrested. And so that's, even though we filed, like, we've reported it to the police. Sometimes we'll go there with my father. They are at this place. We've seen them prove everything shows that they are there. But the police will be like, he's the only person here. He can't leave the cell. He can't leave the station to go and arrest a male criminal.
It's been 7 years now, but memories of that horrific incident plays back to her each year, and more painfully, always on her birthday.
I started behaving like a mad girl. I was down, like I don't talk. Sometimes I'll be there, I'll just shout, I'll just yell, like I'll just be screaming. I was even admitted at the psychiatric hospital for drugs. I was just moving from hospitals to hospitals, from medication, different medication, just to bring me back to normal. So whenever we go to, so the guys are using that as an excuse that I'm not a correct girl, like I'm not correct. The case I'm trying to say is I'm just giving them a case, but it's not true. But it's true. I'm not mad. I'm correct in my senses.
You attempted suicide how many times?
I think 4 times. I drank Parazole 3 times. Yeah, I drank Parazole 2 times, drank DDT 1 time, and cut myself with a knife once. I decided to stop drinking the poison because my mom and my dad, because they've been supportive through this case. They've done all they could do. Even though I'm the firstborn, but they've pampered me as if I'm the lastborn. So I just sat down and talked to myself that those that even did the crime are living a happy life, and me being the victim, why will I be wasting my parents' money and everything on drugs?
Miriam had told me before my interview with her, she's now a lesbian. In fact, she came to me in the company of a lesbian partner who she says is helping her deal with the emotional pain.
I'm in a relationship almost a year now. Yeah, we've been together. We do everything together. And we support each other too.
What kind of relationship?
Same sex. After the rape, I started having hatred for guys. The only guys I entertain are the guys I've been free with before the rape and the guys that have been supportive during the rape.
She alleges that many more girls have suffered rape in the Mataheko Gaskia Zongo community since her incident, but adds majority of people in the community have come to accept rape as a minor infraction.
The way I hold it, it's a Zongo community, and gang rape is something normal. They would just be like...
You mean it's normal?
It's normal. I'm not the first victim. I'm not the first, and I'm not the last. And after me being raped, several kids have been raped in my hood.
She's managed to forgive her attackers, but doesn't want any girl to ever again fall victim to rape, at least not in her community.
Right, so you heard Miriam's story there. Miriam is speaking out about 7 years after she was gang raped. And as you heard her say, she's been trying very hard to get the police at Mataheko to take action, but they haven't done much about it. But we can report that today the police administration has taken note. At least they came over to join news for a copy of Miriam's story. And so we're hoping that something good will come out of it, or some action will be taken as a result of she coming out to share her story with the rest of the world. In other news, Interior Minister Ambrose Derry has charged African leaders to robustly pursue at different levels on the African continent a renewed effort to end violence. The Interior Minister says it has become imperative to move swiftly as the number of violent conflicts and threats to peace on the continent are on the rise. Speaking at the opening ceremony of the West Africa Peace Building Institute course, Ambrose Derry pledged his ministry will work tirelessly to ensure a stable and peaceful environment for sustainable development. MF Jadozi reports.
16th session of the West Africa Peace Building Institute, WAPI, saw the participation of members from some West African countries. The participants are expected to go through 3 weeks training on some key concepts in peace and security. Commandant of the Kofi Annan International Peacekeeping Training Center, FVM Griffiths Evans, noted that the course will equip members to promote solutions to violence in the sub-region.
For the next 3 weeks, you will be deliberating on matters as diverse and yet inextricably interrelated as peace-building program design, development, conflict prevention, and protection of civilians. Indeed, it is as a result of these challenges that WANEP and KIPTC established a strategic partnership geared towards promoting civil society, civilian participation in peace-building practice and development. This course will surely equip you with the capacity to engage in effective peace-building interventions to support ongoing regional and sub-regional efforts to promote solutions to existing problems.
On his part, Interior Minister Ambrose Derry charged African leaders to pursue renewed efforts to end violence.
As the number of violent conflicts and threats to peace on our beloved continent continue to rise, it has become imperative for a renewed effort to bring a lasting end to conflicts and structural violence be more robustly pursued at different levels of our continent. Peace is a prerequisite for the development of every society. In this regard, it cannot be overemphasized that peace must be backed by action, and proactivity is the way to go. My ministry continues to work tirelessly to ensure that collaboration and partnerships between state and non-state actors is paramount in the execution of our mandate.
He also reiterated his ministry's commitment to support institutions that seek to promote peace.
The chiefs and people of Joppe, traditional area in the Agotime Joppe district of the Woltu region, are proposing the establishment of a tomato processing factory in their area and the government's One District, One Factory initiative. According to the paramount chief of Joppe, Togbe Bina Luvi, the area is well known for the vast production of tomatoes, hence well positioned to furnish the processing factory with more than enough raw material. He made the proposal at this year's Advocacy or Farm Festival celebrations at Joppe over the weekend. Fred Kwame Asari's report.
Joppe traditional area is noted for vast tomato cultivation amidst other vegetables and crops. The area has been one of the country's major food baskets due to the intense all-year-round farming activities, hence the institutionalization of the annual Advocacy, which literally means Farm Festival, to celebrate farmers and urge them on. Joppe has endorsed the new patriotic party's One District, One Factory, Planting for Food and Jobs, and One Village, One Dam flagship programs, believing they will be of great benefit to the area since residents are predominantly farmers. This was evident in this year's theme for Advocacy, Planting for Food and Jobs in a Healthy Community. The Deputy Minister for Youth and Sports, Pius Hajide, who represented government, appreciated the area's belief and trust in the MPP's government's vision and urged the community not to abandon the farming profession as government endeavors to make it more lucrative.
Organized, the planning committee did a good job. I am happy to note that the paramount chief himself sat in state, the district executive was there, the member of parliament was there. What for me is instructive is what appears to be a clear endorsement of most of the flagship programs of the current government. I'm talking about Planting for Food and Jobs, for instance, which happens to be the theme for this year's Advocacy. The theme for the Advocacy is Planting for Food and Jobs in a clean environment. For me, that is enough testament that the people are behind their government in these matters. They have also clearly endorsed the one district, one factory. No wonder they have asked for a tomatoes factory here in Ethiopia. It means that the people understand that the promises of the MPP are meaningful and that they are things that human beings desire and deserve in their lives.
The paramount chief of Ziopet traditional area, Todbi Loluvi Baina, appealed to government to consider establishing a tomato processing factory in the area, since tomatoes is produced in abundance, and also consider a promise by former President Mahama to make the area a vegetable production hub. He also lamented on the scarcity of potable water in the area and appealed to government to ensure a swift completion of the Adidome water project, which will be extended to the Ziope area to end the outbreak of waterborne diseases.
The tomatoes factory.
We have been trumpeting the establishment of a tomato factory in our area for some years now. We want it established this year. The Ziope area is known for the cultivation of tomatoes. We thank the government for the construction of the Keyeme Dam, but we need more dams in other communities of the traditional area to facilitate farming. We are bedeviled with the scarcity of potable water and appealing to government to quickly complete the Adidome water project.
Residents are optimistic the establishment of the tomato processing factory would help reduce post-harvest losses farmers experience and also improve livelihoods in the area. Fred Kwame Asari's report for Joy News.
That's it for the bulletin. Thank you very much for watching. Have a good night.